Hi, everybody. This is Metalhead in Mexico. Keiko, the Metal Dog, reporting not from Mexico. I'm still in Minnesota. This is getting toward mid-December. We just had a blizzard, and I'm remembering time and again. I mean, at least it's not sub-zero or anything like that. That's going to happen this weekend. But the snow that fell, we just had a blizzard. It's still in the 20s. So it was like kind of decent. It's like I'm not going to go so far as to say I enjoyed it, but it was not horrible. But I am still reminded of like, this is part of why I left. This is part of why I left. I was part of why I left the Midwest in the first place. I was just done with this weather. I haven't enjoyed winters in a very long time. So, good riddance, and even more good riddance to just U.S. weather, because I'm really enjoying Guanajuato. Anyway, so today's video, I'm gonna, in a future video coming up, I'm gonna be preparing an answer to Tammy's question, who had some immigration related, fairly specific questions. And although I'm not, obviously not legal advice, I do have some bits of information that may help point you, Tammy, and others in the right direction on just kind of where and how to start. But today's video is going to cover mental preparedness. So what do I mean by that? Mental preparedness is, well, how sure are you that you want to move out of the country, right? Are you just frustrated with your life right now and you just need a change? And so if so, and you just haven't really thought of it much past that, and you don't like have family in Mexico, and you don't really have a financial plan or any kind of plan yet, maybe you want to just pump the brakes for a second and just pause and make sure, is it what kind of change is it that you want, and why? And what are you wanting to move away from, and what are you wanting to move toward instead? So those are some questions to kind of just like start with, like a pros and cons list about like where you are now, and think of the vision of what you want your life to be, not necessarily where, but what you want it to look like. And not like, I want a yacht with 100 servants and and $2 billion. What would you feasibly think, like what would make you like not feel the way you do now, not trapped, not like on this carnival ride that won't fucking stop. To feel like you're more in control of your life, and to feel more like yourself again, or more like the person you want to be. What would that take? What could that look like? Could it be a job change? Could it be changing neighborhoods or towns, cities, states? Sometimes that's the answer. It doesn't have to be, international move sounds good on paper. Sounds, in fact, it's very romantic and everything. And that was one of the things, as romantics, that's something my husband David and me wanted to, my David, is my David. But one of the things we wanted to make sure was that, we're getting our heads out of the clouds enough to really, think about it. What is it we really want? We know what would be wonderful, what would be preferable and nice, versus what we think we can actually accomplish, and what would that look like. And so for us, we weren't big on status markers. We weren't homeowners. We have bought and paid for very used car that was already almost 10 years old when we bought it. In hindsight, we would have paid cash had we, known better that this is the way you do things, not putting everything on a payment plan. But we didn't have money at the time, and that was our logic, whether, was to have the immediacy of having it done. In hindsight now, we know that paying as much as you possibly can for a down payment on something is better than being milked and nickeled and dimed where the interest rates over years and years and years. And that's for cars. It's even more so for cars now, because, well, I'll maybe cover this in a rant, but I just don't have a very favorable opinion about what the value to people it is to have 5 and 7 year payment plans for a car, or 30-year or even 50-year, they're floating the idea now, payment plans on homes. The narrative is that it's to help people afford it. But the truth to me, and again, like I say, I have a lot more to say on this, but the truth to me is something else. And it's not helpful to people. It's really not. It's something we've been groomed to believe, and I don't think it's true. So what do I mean by that? Maybe you'll have to wait for another video to drop where I cover that topic. Okay. Anyway, so we said no to all those things. We kind of regret not getting a condo or something in the meantime when we were making okay money. Then the recession happened, so then we were glad we didn't. In the end, by the flip side of the recession, we had paid off the car. We had acquired $7,000 in credit card debt, credit and store card, which we got on a plan with our credit union, and my husband had to co-sign for it because it had damaged my credit that badly. And they just kept us on track on the payments. And then it was, once we paid it down, then, they kept the interest rate low for the first year. And so we were incentivized to pay as much or all of it down just in 1 year. So it was huge. We decided to pay off the car, and our like I say, our income was really bad post-recession, but we just stuck to it because we didn't want to have that. The APR was so high because we hadn't bought anything that expensive before. It was like a $13,000 car, but we never spent that much money before on anything. So so we had a totally shit APR for that. But once we had two incomes, though, like on the cusp of 2015, 2016, full-time income, kind of decent income, our thoughts were to look into buying something. But then when we in 2018 we went to Mexico, and then all that stuff got dashed on the rocks, and we were like, oh, we can move abroad. Oh my God, okay, so Germany's not going to work, but maybe Mexico can. So then the more we dug around, the more we thought, hey, this is possible. So that's our mindset. We were already in the mindset, but we had kind of put it on the back burner because we didn't know what else to do, and we just assumed we were staying in the Northwest forever, right? So we thought we'll travel, but this is going to be home. So we were trying our damnedest to finally make some kind of roots, but we kept not doing it. So why? That was the big crux for us. It's like, why are we never committing? Why are we never committing to stay, really, in the way that everybody else does? It's like, well, most people, by the time they've lived someplace as long as they have, they've bought a house, they've, nested a little bit, bought a house or two, did a condo, upgraded to a house, or did something, something. But we hadn't, and that was why. Now we know that was why. It was because we didn't want to be there. And we just kept yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I don't want to live there. Yeah, that's nice. I don't want to really buy that. We find out what we were qualified for. We kind of warm up to the idea, but then it just almost as quickly as we warmed up to it, we'd cool again. And we just could never put our finger on why that was. And it's because we didn't want to stay. That was why. And so if you have anything like that you've experienced, comment below. Do you feel that kind of that restlessness that just never really goes away, no matter what you do, no matter what you try, no matter what you think is kind of the appropriate or the right thing to do, or the right thing to do for you at the time even, or your family, and then it still just doesn't jive right? I mean, it's just like, no, this isn't the right choice either, I mean, that's life in a way too. I mean, that's just the journey. But it's still so wrong. It's like, no, this isn't the right place for us either. And then you think, Well, you know, if living internationally has really just been just hanging in there, no matter what you do, no matter where your life path takes you, it's still like nagging at you. Maybe listen. Maybe listen to it, because at least look into it and find out what could be. And if you do the research and you find out, actually that's more feasible than I thought, cool. But if then at least you've done your due diligence and you don't have to wonder if or why, if only, or I should have at least checked into it a little bit more instead of just, you know, dreaming and looking up at the clouds. No, look into it, see if it's possible, because it might be. I mean, we sure aren't wealthy. We've been pretty fortunate in the last like 10, 15 years, but overall, like financially speaking, and just being in a position where we could save. But it's one of the things that growing up as poor people, we always were under the impression that when you don't have any money, you can't save. And that's a myth too. I mean, sometimes it is. You're just coming down to, pennies and dimes and nickels. You're opening the penny jar to see what you can get for food. If, hey, I got like a 12-pack of ramen for the week. That's my budget for the week. I've been there, so I get it. But it's all a myth as far as like you don't have money, so that means you can't save. There's always room to save. You just have to find it, and you have to do the work to find it. And it's not pretty. It means sometimes giving up, you don't want to give up every joy, but like for me, I cut way down on my drinking. I kind of lost my taste for like a lot of snack foods that I would use for like kind of comfort, for like just, yeah, for comfort. I'd buy, like a good bar of chocolate instead of these other treats I was getting. And that would be my thing. I would have to make it work, make it last through the week, right? Little to no going out to eat. Splurges, those are mostly gone. One of the techniques I had for the mindset of just getting into the thought of like kind of satiating certain kinds of like splurges and indulgences was I would go on to these accounts where I used to do shopping, and I would fill a shopping cart, like this virtual shopping cart. And I'd be like, oh, these boots are awesome. I mean, I'm like all in about boots. And if and when I can, I'm going to like start a boot collection again a little bit. I'm going to max out at 5 pairs, but if I can, but I'll start with 2 and just be like, okay, can I make this work? But anyway, that sort of thing, just give yourself some grace to enjoy things still. But otherwise, I mean, document. Give yourself 1 month and be super diligent. Document everything. Keep every receipt. Or if you don't do receipts, look at your online statement and pore over it. Make sure you know how much did I spend on groceries for the month? How much did I spend on the monthly bills? The monthly bills are a big thing where you can save a lot, because go in and reevaluate what you're paying. And most of these monthly subscriptions that we have are nickeling and diming us and jacking up the prices a little bit at a time without us even really paying much attention. And they're counting on that. So they give better deals to new customers with promotions. So call them out on it in a friendly way, either on the phone or on chat, and negotiate your bill down. So like, I want that promotional offer. And if they don't do it, say, oh, I'd like to talk to a manager, because otherwise I'm really inclined to just leave you, and I'd rather go with so-and-so instead. And they don't want to lose a customer over it. So usually they'll cave, and, but this is, this is consumer power, and this is totally in your rights to do, because they don't do the customer service like they used to back in the day. Loyalty is not always rewarded, even though they like to say it is. They tend to ignore people, and they want to just like, they want to count on you not paying attention to what those little incremental bumps to your bill every month or every 6 months or every year. It's like, how did in the last 2 years, how did this same bill become $40 more expensive? And it's not because of like the energy rates or something like that. It's just these fees, the administration fees, or there's some other little thing that they just kind of tack on 40 cents here, 40 cents there, a couple dollars here and there, rental of a modem, all that kind of stuff. So in the next video, I'm going to cover how to actually commit to saving. So that's all I got for this time. See you on the next one, and blessed are the weird.